Where has any of you taken on a significant challenge and took it from worst to first? Just give me one example of what you did different.
Good question.
Fayette,
Yeah, you're first.
I saw what was going on in Fayette County Schools, and there was a person on the board for 12 years, and they always ran as a Republican. I decided to run as a Republican. They changed and they became a Democrat, so I ran in the Republican primary and then against them as a Democrat, so I had to run twice to get elected. We had a fiscal problem. We only had $800,000 in our reserve fund, and it was just unacceptable. So we came together, myself and another school board member who was a professor at Georgia Tech, and some of the other board members, and we fixed the problem. Now we have over a $15 million budget reserve. We had to make some tough decisions. We had to balance, the budget, and I won't say Fayette County was worst and now it's worse, because that wouldn't be true. But we did what we needed to do this year, and we got us back on the right track. I really wanted them to get out of Common Core, but I realized, even though our board voted to have higher level standards, we couldn't do that because it's illegal, because our superintendent said he doesn't look good in orange, and he wasn't going to do that because of the testing. So I know what I can do, I know what I can't do as a board member. Local control is taken away from board members, so that's why I'm trying to get it back.
Cool, thanks. Nancy?
In the private sector, I worked as an actuarial consultant, as you know, and oftentimes, so I'm just going to address it from a private and then a public sector thing. I used to work on large trusts, some that had, over $1 billion, and oftentimes some of the clients that we had would come to us in terrible shape and out of compliance with governmental regulations. And so I used to call myself the garbage man, because I was routinely given those clients to get them back into the good graces of Uncle Sam from a compliance perspective. That's hard work. You're negotiating with the Department of Labor, with the IRS, and so on. That's a difficult job to do, but I'm happy to say I ushered many a client through that process, and that's a big success. That's a big financial success for that company as well. And then, of course, publicly, I documented and made public, and it was even cited in the Sachs investigation, over $54 million in deceptive budgeting practices that wore away the accumulated cash reserves of the third largest school district in our state. That touched everyone in the state, given that a large amount of your state tax dollars also come back to the CAB. And I was the first person to document it, talk about it, make it public.
Fitz? Yeah, there's sitting here trying to think of worst to first, it's a difficult turnaround. And I look at some of my sports teams, and I think, there were some teams I took from worst to first, and I think about soccer team, I was like, what? You finished last in that division, got moved up and finished in first. I know that's probably not what you want to hear. Then I was thinking about the,
Actually, something like that, if you can tell me specifically what you did.
Oh, it's all about leadership. It's all about leadership. I had 18, under 16-year-old girls. You can imagine, and it's, but coming off of a season where we were just bad. I wasn't the coach that came in. I said, okay, look, hey, it's a new regime, so you set up. Here's how we're going to organize. Here's how we're going to motivate. Here's how we're going to be disciplined. And I tell them, look, you got 15 minutes at the beginning of practice. That's when we're going to do this, and you can do this all you want. Okay, all you want. And we're only going to go 90 minutes. Okay, so the rest of the time is mine, my assistant coaches. And then you have to deal with parents. We've all been, this soccer mom's problem. We've all dealt with parents. That's a difficult thing because we kid about soccer moms, right? But soccer moms, they care. They're down there cheering their kid off, and if their kid's not playing, they'll call and say, hey, coach, what can you do better? And, you give them some lessons. Say, here's what you can do better. And the same thing that happens that we need to happen more of in the classroom. This is what we can do better. So you have to organize this thing and have teamwork. You have to have leadership. You have to have discipline. And you're teaching. You're teaching these kids how to win. Some of them, you're teaching them just how to win. Okay? And so all of that comes together. And look, everybody likes winning. Okay? People get happy. People enjoy. You start winning, Okay, and people start coming, oh, wait, that's good. How can we do some more of that? And you need a couple more, first game you get 5 parents. Second game you get 10 parents. Next thing you know, you got all the parents showing up. Hey, who starts snack? Okay? We didn't have snack first. Now we got 3 team months. Everybody wants to do that, but that kind of momentum is what we need. And that's the kind of momentum we want to translate from what we're doing here and why we want to go lead this education here in Georgia. That's my worst to first story. Matt?
When I left teaching, I told you I went into a public nonprofit. It was basically our historic downtown development authority is what I was in charge of. I was the executive director and the leader of this organization. And essentially at this particular time, everything was shut down at 7 o'clock. We had to make some changes to make sure that we had more jobs coming in there. There were more opportunities for our folks in town to do different things. So we had a situation where a restaurant wanted to come in. It was a really nice restaurant, but they wanted to serve alcohol. And in this particular area of town, no restaurant had ever gotten approved to sell wine. And it was a huge, unpopular subject at the time. I took a very public stand that this is something that we had to do. And, it was we had 400 people in the city council room at that night and tried to decide what was going to happen. I gave a very impassioned plea, but we were able to get that passed. And what I'll tell you is, as uncomfortable as that was, it changed the whole complexion of that downtown area. You can go to Cartersville right now, under the bridge to Appalachian Grill if you've ever been there. It's an amazing restaurant. And that one restaurant allowed for other boutique shops and different things to open up down there. And that fight created jobs, opportunities. We have museums now. Things are staying open much later at night, and it really helped change the local economy within that area. So I think the lesson is, you have to fight really hard, whether something's popular or not popular. And if you do that, most often, you're going to preserve your integrity, and the right thing will happen.
Kira?
Hi, I can't see you, so you can stand up. Since we're talking about education, and I have been a teacher, I was an 18-year teacher, and I'm still in the schools now. What I believe in is slow and sustainable growth. And it's not possible really for the teachers to have that slow and sustainable growth if the rules keep getting changed on them. So we started with quality core curriculum, and then we moved to GPS, and then we had the Math 1, 2, 3, then the GPS. Now it's Common Core GPS, or GPS Common Core. And then we're moving to that. So I don't know that it's possible to go from worst to first when the rules keep changing. What we need is somebody who will stay in there, in that leadership position, who will drive instruction and who will help our teachers and our schools continue to improve. I get very suspicious when I see a 10-point, 15-point test increase in school systems. We all know that that's not real. It's a fantasy, and we've got people going to court because of that fantasy. So when we talk about slow and sustainable growth, if I see graduation rates going up 15%, that makes me very nervous because I don't think we're serving children. I think we're servicing people who want that graduation rate to look good so that they look good. 2%? Perfect. Sign me up for 2% a year any day.